Welcome back. This is Matt with InSoFast. Today we're going to show you how to do inset windows with InSoFast the easy way. So we're ready to cut the panels to go around this window. A few things that we need to take into account are we have to be able to get the tongue and groove in at the side and the bottom. So we're going to need to leave a little bit of an extra gap for that. The other thing that we're going to need to do is slope this sill so water can run off of it when the rain comes in and runs down the window. It needs to be able to run out. That being said, we are going to mark the back side of this panel, and the reason why we're doing the back side is so we get the panel in the correct location when we're cutting this angle on the bottom. So I'm going to take my measurements here and I'm going to mark them on the panel. I'm going to make sure that I am measuring. We have the tongue sticking out here, so you need to measure from the groove on the panel just to make sure your measurements are going to line up. So my actual measurement is 11 3/4. I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch to be able to get it into the tongue on the side. So my first mark is going to be at 11 1/2. And you're going to want to do the same thing, leave an extra 1/4 inch on this side. So I'm at about 35 1/4, so I'm going to do 35 1/2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the tongue here, just so I know I have enough space to get the panel in. And I'm going to take this exact measurement, which is going to be 15 1/2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 15 1/2, put my finger there, and I am just going to score the panel like this with the tape measure. One of the things that you need to take into account when you're cutting the panels to go around the window is you're going to need to leave a little bit of a gap, usually about a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to take my measurement here. I'm going to subtract a 1/4 inch from my measurement and mark it on the panel. And now I'm going to measure to the other side. And I am going to add a 1/4 inch to this measurement to allow for a little bit of space around the window. Now I'm going to measure the other side. I'm going to add a 1/4 inch to give a little bit of space around the window. Now I'm going to take this measurement here and I'm going to mark this exact measurement on the panel. I'm going to flip it over upside down. And I'm going to strike this across. So now I have the panel marked. Let's go cut it. Let's see how it fits. I'd say that fits pretty good. I have a 1/4 inch gap on both sides, and I have a little bit more of a gap on the bottom, which that's going to be fine. So now what I'm going to do is match up this panel with the panel below it and see how it's partway through that rib on the front. I'm going to put a mark right there, and that's where I'm going to cut it. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to align it with the panels below. And I am going to put my marks on where I need to cut it. And then what I'm going to do is the same thing we did for the bottom. I'm going to take this measurement. We're going to add 1/4 to it and strike that measurement across. This is one way you can trim out the window with coil stock. This is a coil stock that is bent to the shape of this trim board, and it just fits in beside the window like that. And it's screwed on through the panels with long screws, the same ones that you use to attach the panels, into the sheathing around the window. This lip can be used to attach another trim board, or it can be used to attach the end of your siding. You can screw or nail your siding into this. Be sure to slope your bottom sill so water will shed off, and then you will need to caulk around this coil stock. An alternative to using the coil stock would be to install an extension jam. Here are a couple examples of how it's done. These are just pre-built extension jams that we built earlier, attached with L clips that just get screwed in, and then you would attach these before you were to install the panels. So you'd screw these up around your window, and then you would install the InSoFast around it, leaving about a 1/4 inch gap for spray foam around the edges. In this example here, we attached a piece of strapping to attach the end of the siding to. So you would attach this on either side of your window with long screws through into the sheathing, and then you can just screw or nail your siding into that. So now that we have the coil stock trim installed on this window, we want to put a corner board on. So you'll notice that we ended up with an InSoFast stud right next to here, which that's going to work out great if you are using a narrow trim board like this. You're going to be able to attach your trim board to the metal flashing and then attach the end of your siding to the InSoFast stud. But you might be wanting to install a wider trim board, or this stud might not be here at all. So in this case, if we were installing this, we'd want to attach the trim board to the metal and to the InSoFast stud, but then we're almost 16 inches away from our next stud, and we're putting lap siding on, so that's not going to work. One option when you run into this situation where you need more attachment points for your siding or your trim board is using a piece of galvanized steel roll flashing. It comes in a roll like this, and then you can just cut it to length. And then this can be attached in a couple different ways. You can either attach it to an InSoFast stud, or you could even attach it to the edge of this window flashing. Or you can use the long construction screws that you installed the panels with to put this wherever you don't have an InSoFast stud or another attachment point. I'm going to go ahead and screw this into the InSoFast stud using 1-inch panhead screws. Now what this flashing is going to do is allow you to attach your trim board and then attach the end of your siding to this metal flashing. So let's say that you want to do something a little more solid. In that case, you can use a 1x recessed into the foam with a hot knife. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this where the end of the siding will be able to attach to it. And then I'm going to take my marker, mark the edge of where I'm cutting out. Take my hot knife Using this 1x4 as a guide, I'm going to plunge it in and then cut out a groove for this 1x4 to go into. So now I'm going to stick my 1x4 into the slot I just cut out. I'm going to take the same screws that I installed the panels with and screw this into the sheathing. So now I can attach the trim board, and then my siding has a solid attachment point at the edge. So there's a couple ways you can provide attachment for the end of your siding around your openings. This will also work at the corners of your walls if you need to do it there too. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment. Otherwise, like and subscribe for more content.